Okay, welcome back, and in this video we're going to put the rudder control horn on. So you should have a little bag somewhere that has all the stuff you need for the rudder, and in there is the control horn. Also in there are the three screws to screw that control horn in. Okay, and also in there I have the clevis, and on the rudder I'm going to use this what's called a quick connect. Okay, it's a little brass thing with a screw to hold the push rod and a little nylon cap to hold it into this arm of the servo. So we'll get to that a little bit later. Right now we're just going to install this with the three screws. Now the first thing is both the elevator and the rudder have this little extra piece here that the ailerons didn't have, because the ailerons, I'm just going to go ahead and twist that off. And I'm going to take a little razor blade and trim that nicely. There we go. And trim this nicely. Okay. And the keeper is necessary because this is the rudder and the elevator are thin, and these screws are going to go all the way through it. And so they're going to go all the way through this little plate on the back, and actually it's going to stick out that plate. I noticed one other thing here that I may fix now. The pilot hole is actually broken through the hole on this side, but it's not broken the hole on the other side. So let me see if I can just sort of poke that hole through from this side. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to take one of the screws and poke it a little bit so that when it gets time to screw through it, it won't be a problem. Okay, so the three holes, first thing I'm going to check is make sure that the three holes line up. You can flex the rudder now, by the way, so I've flexed it before, but you can flex it now to make sure it's going full tilt in both directions. Okay, so they seem to line up okay. Now these screws are the same screws we saw in the elevator, which is, you know, half a slot screwdriver and half a Phillips screwdriver. And when we did that, we found that the slot worked better than the Phillips. So I'm going to use my power screwdriver. I need to get my slot head. So this screwdriver came with a nice set of bits, and I believe I used them. There's three sizes for the slot head, and I think I remember I used the medium size for this screw. So we'll get out the medium and test it, make sure it works. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is, first off, I like to make sure that the, and it's not. Okay, I'm going to stop and get the pin vise, because this, of the three holes, one of them is clear through, the other two have a film over one side of it, and that's going to make it hard to get the screw started. So I'll be right back with my pin vise to open that hole. Okay, I'm back, and I found that the pin vise was actually too small because it's a millimeter. I'm going to use a 1/16 drill bit, and open these holes up better. Okay. Okay, that's good. That one's open. So two of these have a film on them, and I like to make sure those are open up. And don't poke your finger. All right. So now what I'm going to do is, the reason I do that is because I want to start each one of these in its hole. Let me set this down right here, and we'll just okay. And the reason you start these in their hole is you have the tip of the screw come out just enough so that you can feel when it seats into the hole that they're going to screw into. So you get all three of these started. That didn't go. Okay. So this back one is in not quite enough, so I'm going to twist him in just a little bit more by hand. Okay. And these other two are protruding a little too much. I'll back him up a little bit and back him up a little bit. Okay. So now all three, the tips of all three of those screws are protruding enough so that when I put it up here, I'll be able to feel that those three screws are in the proper place. And now that they are, I will hold it by one and using the electric screwdriver with my left hand. Get that started. Now that I got one started, I can hold it a little better. What's nice about the electric screwdriver is I could never do this with a manual screwdriver. But with an electric screwdriver, it becomes very simple to use your left hand and screw these in all the way. Okay. Now I'm only screwing it in far enough to have the tip come out the other side. Okay. Okay, now the three tips of the screws are coming out the other side. All three holes of this plate are open, and there's sort of an up and a down to it because one side is really flat and the other side has a bit of a bevel to the top. So I'm going to put the flat side down, put it over the three tips, and that makes sure that everything is lined up nice and tight. I can hold that with my right hand, and again with a power screwdriver I can screw it down with my left hand. Okay, I'm not going to go 100% all the way in. I'm just going to get these to bite into the plate. Okay, so now I'm going to not use the power of the screwdriver, just use it as a screwdriver to tighten these down to where the head is flush with the control horn. And so what I'm going to show you here is I'm going to pick the airplane up, turn it around so you can see, and if you look right there, you can see that the 3 screws are sticking out like more than 1/8 of an inch each, and they're sharp. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this thing this way. Okay. And what I've got here is my hot melt glue gun. Okay. And I got some hot melt glue on my fingers here, and it's hot. Okay. So I've got a hot melt, tiny little crafts kind of hot melt glue gun, and now without getting any on any of the covering, my hot melt glue gun is not long enough of a power cord, so let me shift this around a little bit like that. And so I'm going to drop some hot melt glue, 3 little drops of hot melt glue on those 3 little screws sticking out. Okay, one, just a tiny little drop. And don't get it on the covering because it's hot. I'm going to melt the covering. And so that hot melt glue will prevent anything snagging. A little more on this third one here. That hot melt glue will prevent anything from snagging. And what's going to snag on it, you say? Well, guess what? After you fly at the end of every day, you're going to take a rag and some isopropyl alcohol and clean the airplane off of the oil that comes from the engine. So you're going to drag your rag over that, and it's going to catch on it. It's going to not do well. So that's just going to prevent that hot melt glue is going to prevent from anything getting caught. Okay, come on, there we go. All right. Ouch. Shouldn't have done that. That's all right. I got a bunch of spider web hot melt glue. If I pull it off now, it'll come off before it hardens. Okay. Okay, so that looks good, and that's in place. Thank you very much, and enjoy watching the next video. Be back in a little while.